Today we're going to compare the Maxi-Cosi Lara2 and the Cybex Libelle, two lower-priced ultra-compacts often considered in particular for travel. So let's jump straight into it then, looking at the advantages and disadvantages of each model in turn, and focusing on their differences in terms of child comfort, ease of use, longevity, and driving characteristics, before ending with a discussion of under what conditions and uses one might make a better purchase over the other. And starting off with the Lara2, the model clocks in at 6.4 kilos and folds down to 50 by 51 by 26 centimeters. It can carry 22 kilos in the seat and 2 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. When it comes to child comfort, the Lara2 seat has both a decently upright position and a near flat recline, while size-wise, it measures 30 centimeters in width, has a length for the sitting surface of 80, meaning the combined lengths of the backboard, baseboard, and adjustable leg rest, and a total longer length of 110, when also taking into account space beneath the canopy and the distance to the front frame mounted footrest. As far as other aspects of the seat are concerned, though not the longest out there, the canopy provides decent sun coverage for the model, especially considering that it sits a bit higher than average off the seat back. And the Lara2 also comes stock with a bumper bar, which is nice, despite not being the easiest to use. While on the negative side, the textiles are a little bit cheap feeling in my opinion. The central buckle sits a bit too far back, which can be uncomfortable for older toddlers, and the shoulder straps have to be rethreaded to change their height, which is a bit of an outdated setup at this point. Moving on to parent comfort, the Lara2's handles stand at a fixed height of 103 centimeters, and the model has two shopping baskets, with the main one being unfortunately a little difficult to access in my opinion, due to sidewalls and the height of the rear lip, though there is also an upper basket, which can be useful for holding smaller stuff like a bottle or your phone. Looking at folding, the Lara2 requires two hands to flip up the bumper bar, while after this, folding down the rest of the model can be accomplished pretty easily with one hand. However, I'd note that the model doesn't self-stand when folded, and is also too large to fit within the IATA's guidelines for cabin luggage. As far as how the Lara2 feels to use, other than the handle being a bit loose at its hinged locking points, both halfway down the arms as well as at the central hubs, the chassis as a whole doesn't feel particularly weak or bendy as it comes right out of the box. But the use of dual wheels in the front does make it a bit of a chore to steer, and the somewhat too far forward positioned seat also makes the model a little heavy to tip up curbs when seating an older child. As far as terrain capability goes, despite having both front and rear suspension, and acceptably sized wheels for an ultra-compact, 5.3 inches in the front and 6 in the back, those dual wheels come into play again, making the model somewhat uncomfortable to handle over even stuff like broken sidewalks, by slowing down one's ability to steer around obstacles, as well as providing more surface area to get hung up on stuff. Moving on, the Libelle weighs in at a lighter 5.9 kilos, while folding down to a much more compact 32 by 20 by 48 centimeters. It can similarly carry up to 22 kilos in the seat, but has a higher weight capacity of 5 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. Looking at child comfort, the Libelle has a decently upright position, though its recline is much shallower than the Lara2's, while size-wise, it's wider at 32 centimeters and has the same length for the sitting surface, though with a backboard that's longer by about 5 centimeters, giving it an advantage when it comes to head support in the reclined position. That being said, while the Libelle has a bit of extra space beneath the canopy, it doesn't have a front frame mounted footrest, which is a definite disadvantage versus the Lara2 for older toddlers who have outgrown the leg rest. As far as other aspects of the seat are concerned, the textiles on the Libelle are also a bit on the cheap side, though they're a bit better with the current second generation model, while the harness is nicer in my opinion than the Lara2's, both in that the shoulder straps are tracked, making them easier to adjust, and also in that the current version of the model has incorporated Cybex's one-pull tightening mechanism. As far as negatives go, the Libelle's canopy doesn't stretch as far and thus doesn't provide as good sun coverage as the Lara2. The model doesn't come with a bumper bar, and in addition to being shorter, the leg rest also feels weaker than with the Lara2 in my opinion. Moving on to parent comfort, the Libelle's handle stands at a lower fixed height of 100 centimeters, making it a bit less comfortable for taller parents, while, as far as the shopping basket is concerned, in addition to having a slightly higher weight capacity, it's also easier to access. When it comes to folding, the Libelle requires 2 hands to fold, and the process is also a bit more complicated than with the Lara2, in that there's an extra step involved to fold the model horizontally. But that being said, the Libelle does stand when folded, and the dimensions of the folded package are the model's best asset, being so small that they allow the Libelle to fit the cabin luggage dimensions of a much wider than usual range of airlines than the majority of other ultra-compacts on the market. As far as the feel of using the Libelle goes, all of those horizontal folding points, in addition to the vertical ones, combined with a bit more plastic than usual, make the Libelle feel quite rickety and fragile in my opinion, in the way it strains when steering or tipping, and mechanically, the design is less durable than the Lara2's overall. While on top of this, the Libelle also has smaller wheels, 5.5 inches in the back and only 4.7 in the front, and also lacks rear frame suspension, meaning that even though the use of single front wheels versus the dual setup on the Lara2 makes the Libelle easier to steer, whenever the ground is even a little rough, the Libelle similarly struggles quite a bit, and with its weaker build, is arguably even less usable outside of indoor environments like the airport or over smooth pavement. So which one of these should you get then? Overall, the Lara2 is a more full-featured and somewhat sturdier stroller, with better seat characteristics and an arguably easier fold, making it, between these two at least, a more durable choice if you need an ultra-compact for more than just travel. That being said, however, there are a lot of other ultra-compacts on the wider market, some of which that can be had for the same price, that are better in many ways than the Lara2 in my opinion. While the Libelle, despite its weaknesses, does have that one unique feature of its super ultra-compact fold, and while in general, this isn't really enough to make it an ideal travel model for most people, simply since travel isn't all about getting through airports, it does give it use value for some situations that's harder to find on the wider market, such as with multi-leg flights with long layovers, for example, when flying with airlines that have tough cabin luggage requirements. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, please subscribe, as a sort of support really helps us to continue making videos in the future. If you'd like to know more about either of these models, we have standalone reviews that go into a lot more detail, and links have been added in the description. In addition, if you're currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description as well. Thank you.